Recording. Okay, I'd like to call the Dover Select Board meeting to order at 6:30 on Tuesday, November 2nd. Our first order of business is public comments. Nobody in the audience. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, now hearing none, we're going to move right into the assessor. And so Linda's zooming in tonight. We continue discussion on reappraisal.
I'd like to start, if we could, excuse me, with the Warren group, because it's quicker. I believe I put this before you before. The Warren group, they're a source of real estate and financial data. They sell names, addresses to anyone and everyone. So they're a marketing firm. I believe we're required by law to allow them access to our data. Some towns have said no. I don't know what repercussions, if any, there are. I just need permission from the town before I give the okay for Russ Bodwin to transfer our data to them. I can't do it. I don't know how.
All right. Sarah?
What specific data are they requesting?
They're looking for names, addresses, properties, what kind of dwellings or condos, room counts, fixture counts, acreage, everything basically that's in our records.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yes. So they're a marketing company. We're giving them our information and then they're going to turn around and sell it, right?
Yep.
I don't know that I think we should give away something that somebody else is going to then sell.
Do you have any written materials, Linda, on this that we could read and look at? It's kind of hard to, I don't remember. Do you remember?
No, I don't, just because we kind of deal with this every year. I don't recall this coming up last year, so perhaps they're not going every year. Just to basically give you a summary of who they are, I just Googled them. So I don't have anything. I believe we used to do it years ago from the lister's office. There was a way to do that. And now they're cracking down more on towns actually getting permission. And I don't mean the Warren group, I mean just the state in general. But from what I understand, it is law that we have to provide it. I mean, it's all public knowledge anyway, but I do think it is a fine line there when we are giving it and they're selling it.
Not a fine line, in my opinion.
Can we get that law? Can we get that provided so that we can read that, so that make sure we are following the law? I don't feel comfortable saying yes tonight. There's just no background for me. I can't remember doing this in the past, and I'm looking at Jeanette and she can't recall it.
Either.
So I think we need more information before we can say anything.
Okay.
Scott's up. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe we should be, I think we have to give them any information that is public information, but I don't think we have to go up. And if, so we need more information, basically.
Okay,
Sarah?
If it's public information, I'm not really clear why we have to provide it and they can't do the data mining themselves.
I was just
Why
about to
are
say
we
that.
making it easier for them?
That's exactly right.
I used to work in direct mail marketing and people don't give this information away. Now, if it's public information and they want to do the mining themselves, we can't stop them. But I'm not sure we need to devote time and energy to giving it to them. And I'd like to see something in writing from them. And as Vicky said, a copy of the law. I'd like to see how they intend to use it.
Mhm. Jim?
I would assume that if they were gonna send that, anyone in this room could request the same information. I would think it would be endless.
Mhm. Fair enough.
Mhm.
Linda?
I'm sorry. Oh, wrong one.
Linda Kersten?
Sorry, Cheryl. I think that, if the state statute says that it's theirs to give, I don't think you have to give it in an easy format. I think you can give it in a printout,
Okay,
make them work for
okay.
it. You know?
So I'm hearing from everybody, Linda Sherman, that we need more information. We'd like to see what the statute says, and we are not gonna take any action on this tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay?
Yes,
Now, do you want to
So-
go to the errors and omissions?
yes.
Okay.
And I did send this to you, did I?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the first one, Dover Hill Road, Stephen Henry and McCarthy. This happened, I think, either last year or the year before. When I made the initial change to combine all of the parcels, it used to automatically send it to the working grand list to whatever the next year was going to be. They don't do that anymore. So it did not follow through to 21. So basically a similar E&O as to what we've had in the past. There was a matter of, those two figures, the 978406 was the correct amount. The 6447 should not have been billed to them. Sorry, I'm a little off tonight. Was that clear?
So we double billed them for part of the property, if I understand correctly?
Right. So the 9784 was the tax bill for everything. So they
And then
got
we
an
sent additional
extra,
tax bill for 6447.
correct.
Any questions about this one? Okay, let's just move and do the other one then, if there's no questions.
Okay. So AL 142, the land parcel, I'll just skip over the dwelling, that bill was correct. I had them combined. They should not have been because they were not in both owners' names. The dwelling is in one name. The land was in both. So therefore, they can't be combined.
So the 277,110 figure, that should be broken out, we need to reduce it by 51,220?
No, that,
Okay.
so that bill went out correct.
Okay, so we had a dwelling in land and then another additional parcel of land.
Right. And
Okay.
the actual correct value, I need to give you a different figure on that land value. 43,230. And the tax due on that is 862.52.
Okay, so I'm confused. I'm confused. So the 277,110 with the dwelling and land, that is correct, and the I
Yes,
don't, I just,
What are we changing? Commissions, what's the change?
we're sending an additional tax bill.
Okay.
okay. And why did the land value change?
That's a good question. I have 43,230 and I gave you the 51.
51,220.
I'm sorry. It was a lot line adjustment.
So the lot became smaller?
Yes. And I did not get that figure over into the correct place to generate the proper tax bill.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board? Does everybody understand what's going on
I'm
here?
good.
Okay, all good? All right, so we need a motion.
I'm all set.
Makes people sound really drunk. Joe, could you try that again?
Are you there, Joe?
What was that?
We can't hear.
I
you
am here.
really
I'm here.
garble.
Okay, what was your last comment, please?
I said I'm all set. I'm all
Okay.
set.
Scott, he is,
Scott gave a thumbs up.
okay. So somebody needs to make a motion that we approve the errors and omissions as amended.
I'll give it a try.
Okay,
So I make a motion that we approve the errors and omissions as follows. The DR 065.A bill for $6,447.09 was a double billing and should be deleted. And the AL 142, the 277,110 dwelling with land is correct. The 51,220 land value was reduced to $43,230, leaving a tax due amount of $862.52.
Second.
any discussion? Linda, anything more to say on this?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Scott is not here to vote.
Okay.
We got it, we got you.
Easy, Joe.
Sorry.
Okay, now, do we want to talk about the discussion of the reappraisal or go to the increase in Linda Kersten's hours? Linda Sherman.
Let's do Linda Kersten. So I sent you all the letter that she had written.
Mhm.
And I'll just give you what I have, and then if Linda has anything to add. So it would be a total of up to 60 hours at 2,400 total. The balance I had as of yesterday, November 1st, was 6540. Minus 2,400 would leave the appraiser fees line at 4,140.
So you're telling us this will stay within budget?
This will stay in budget.
Okay. we've been doing, Linda, as like a contract kind of situation. So I think that we should clarify if we approve this, that that's what we're going to do. Joe, do you have any questions?
I already asked my questions to her earlier, so it makes sense. She was going over what it's taking a little bit longer than expected.
Okay,
So I don't have any questions.
all right. Clara, do you have any questions? So I don't have a problem. I'd like to get this project done, so I think. So
Can I-
December, yes, Linda.
I just want to say the work that Linda Kersten is doing, I believe is going to be very helpful moving forward, especially since we're talking reappraisal as well. This will be a huge piece that a firm coming in, they're not going to have to do that. So we've both, I think, learned a lot from this process, and she's fabulous. I don't want to have her done, but not my choice.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Linda.
Just to
Kirsten.
give you an update, when the letter was written, it
Mhm.
was about halfway through, I think I got, as of this afternoon, I've got about, I think there's 9 files left, and they're all awful.
I saw you save the worst for last.
I saved the worst for last. This gentleman's input on, things like, pump houses and ski lifts and snowmaking and all kinds of stuff. Whatever he can give me, which would be. With my slip, yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments? So we need to make a motion to approve a total of 60 additional hours. Am I hearing that correctly, Linda? For Linda
That would be
Kirsten?
the,
At up to 60 hours, and the project, we feel comfortable, still can end on November 19th?
I'm not sure that's right. This is the beginning of November we're talking about.
So that would be 90.
Yeah. I'm hoping it doesn't get to 90.
So that's a different figure too. It still would be within budget, but it's 90 hours.
I can't hear what she's saying.
She says it's 3 weeks. We're at the 2nd of November. If she does 30 hours a week for 3 weeks, that is 90 hours and not 60 hours.
Oh, I counted 2 weeks. I'm not trying to get you out sooner.
Okay.
That gets you done.
So,
I doubt that it's going to come to 90 anyway.
So it's 90 hours, board. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion that we approve an extension of Linda Kirsten's contract for up to an additional 90 hours. With completion by November 23rd. Well, 3 weeks would be November 23rd.
Well, she's done.
I'll say, good until the 23rd. There, Shirley.
Do I have a second?
Second, sorry.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, aye.
Why isn't mine coming through? Oh, son of a. I'm
Great.
trying. Hello. Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Thank you, Linda. And now we're going to talk about the discussion on reappraisal.
Yes, I want to make one quick comment before we do that. Just to update you, I talked with Joe earlier. There are 4 applicants currently for the assistant assessor position. And I will be starting to conduct interviews on that next week. So just to keep you posted.
Joe, are you going to be able to be involved in that?
The way Joe and I left it, that I would have probably, unless this is a different process than what you would prefer, is that I would talk with all of them and then choose two and have him sit in on a further interview.
Joe? I would like you,
Yes, I spoke to her. Oh, yeah. And I am here. Sorry. I did speak to her, and I also got forwarded the applications so I can look at them.
I'm sorry. Linda, did you send all of the applicants' resumes and applications to Joe?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and Joe, it sounds like you're good with being involved.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
very
what I
good.
said.
We couldn't tell.
Yes,
Okay, very good. And you're happy with that situation? Joe?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
very, very good. Thank you for the update. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Sorry for the bad communication.
Okay.
So
Yes, let's
I-
continue discussion on the reappraisal.
So I don't have that paper with me here at home. I was intending on being there tonight. The reappraisal fund has, I want to say at least 450,000 in it, which would more than cover a townwide. I don't know what more you would like from me in order to get the okay to send out an RFP. Just hearing other towns in the state, a lot of towns are going to be looking at reappraisals, especially with what's going on with the market right now. That is not why we need one. We need one because it's many years out since the last one. Companies that I've spoken to somewhat, they're looking at a town the size of Dover starting in 2023 and being done for the 2025 grand list. My thought on this is if we wait much longer, we're going to be pushing those dates out, and I'm just afraid we're not going to get booked with someone.
Okay. I would like you to send to the board the RFP. And then I also would like to somehow include a line about timeliness, because obviously having a timely reappraisal is going to be important, and a timeline. So I think it's something we need to look at before we put it out there, because it's a pretty big project. Does anybody else on the board have any comments on that? No?
No, I think that.
Same thing. We need to actually do it. We're going to do it. We need
Yep.
more information for the RFP so we can look at it.
Well,
Yes, Linda.
when you say you need more information for the RFP, isn't the information the RFP?
Correct. Yes. We need an
Okay.
RFP to see what it looks like.
We want to see the RFP.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that actually encouraging a timeline and a realistic timeline, and the fact that timeliness is going to be important in this. So, so put that together and bring it to us.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Anything else, Joe?
Nothing from me. Nope.
All right. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Linda. Unfinished business. We're going to do the reappointment of the Emergency Management Committee member. This time we're going to appoint John Abel. So it was unknown to me when I volunteered to do this that I am not eligible to do this because I'm not on fire or rescue. Rich came up with some ideas where I could be, but I said, no, that's perfectly fine with me. So I would like to resign from the temporary inappropriate appointment. And Rich has reached out to John Abel, or Jeanette did. One of us did. One of you guys did. I know Rich said, and John is currently attending the Emergency Management Committee meetings anyway. So I'd like to have a motion to appoint John Abel to the Emergency Management Committee.
I move that we appoint John Abel to the Emergency Management Committee for Dover.
Second.
Second by Joe.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
No.
You're so fragmented. We have no idea what you just did. Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. We're going to move to new business. And next up is the Mount Snow update by Tracy Bartel.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming in person.
It's so much easier.
Yes.
Um,
Hold on one
Can I
second.
just make a suggestion? I know when I listen to the recordings from people in the audience, it's very difficult to hear them from back there.
So should
Could
you
I
come up here?
suggest we either move the microphone or
Could you come up?
Bring our speaker up
do you
here.
mind? if you do,
No,
Tracy?
Dave is here to give part of the update too.
Well,
so-
Dave can sit over here.
Okay.
So it's Dave Holden and Tracy Bartel, a tag team.
That's correct.
Perfect. So thanks. We were excited to wrap up summer operations and we've had a lot going on. We've had weddings starting in July. We've had groups in-house. So all that's been going great and operated a successful mountain bike park as well as the golf course. So we're thrilled with how summer went. And so Dave's going to talk a little bit about the capital projects that we did this summer and how those are. So Dave.
Great. So one of the biggest projects that we've been working on this summer, if you've driven through the base area, you would see that we're replacing the mountain operations building that burned down in June of 2019. And that project is going very well. We broke ground in early mid-May. And right now we are expecting to get our final certificate of occupancy on the 16th. The lower level has already gotten a certificate of occupancy, and we're just waiting for a couple of things to get finished, including the elevator to finish up the second floor. And very excited about getting all our staff back in one place again. For the most part, they're scattered around in houses and buildings that fortunately we had available, but and it's worked out well, but we want to get back in one spot. So that's a big project for us. The building sits on, as you probably are well aware, the exact footprint that where it burned down. And somebody asked me this morning if it was bigger. It looked so much bigger. And I said, well, you just haven't seen it for so long. So it probably does. The other thing that we've been doing is really focus this summer on safety programs. And part of that safety program was to take every lift tower on the mountain and ensure that it had a device called a LAD safe, or it's a climbing device. It's basically a safety cable so that when our mechanics, electricians, staff are climbing towers, they can attach a device onto a cable that travels up the ladder with them. So if for any reason they were to lose handhold or whatever and start to fall, this device catches them and keeps them from falling to the ground. We had a percentage, unfortunately, a smaller percentage of lifts that were equipped with that, but not every lift. And this summer we've installed it everywhere. I'd have to say that we have made huge strides in safety in general. It is a number one priority for us. as most know, it's very difficult to find staff. And so we are extremely protective of the staff that we already have. We don't want to lose anybody. We want everybody to go home safe in one piece. So that's been a big effort. And that, was one of the investment areas. There were literally hundreds of other safety devices that we have been investing in over the summer, but that was a major piece. The last part that we are working on and is putting in our Epic Mix project. They call both Epic Mix and Epic Time, and I haven't used the app myself, but skiers and riders that choose to use the app can ski and ride, and every time they get on a lift, it logs that they've gotten on the lift, and then shows the number of vertical feet they've skied or ridden for the course of the day. Apparently, I've heard from a lot of people that have used it at other resorts that are equipped at Vail, and they say it's very useful. In addition, Epic Time is a series of sensors that tells us and all the guests, if they're getting to the top of the mountain and they're thinking to go into Sunbrook or the North Face, they can look on their app and find out how long the lines are. Pretty much not every single lift, but all our major lifts will have that Epic Time set up that so that people can look and see what the line conditions are like. I'm kind of excited about Epic Mix because it also gives us the ability to, for those that choose to allow the notifications, to communicate with guests. So in the morning, if we're having a wind delay or some sort of weather problem, we can send out a message to our guests. I mean, we Twitter it and we put it on our website and so forth, but this gets a way to kind of get it right in their hands, and they can look and go, I might as well stay in bed. Everything's delayed for an hour. Not that that's the kind of thing we want to do, or we can say, we're going to open early. But that's what Epic Mix and Epic Time is. And the big part of that was that we had to bring fiber optic out to the bottom of every lift, 12 strands to every lift. Too bad we can get some to Joe as well. But
Joe, we're sending you a line.
Hey, easy while you're in my chair there, Dave.
That, and we've also brought power to the bottom of the North Face, which is a huge step for us. We brought actually Royal Electric finished pulling the wire in today, and they will be done by the end of the week. We'll have that powered up. We needed it for Epic Time and Epic Mix, and now we can get rid of propane heat and various other things that we're doing out there. So big step in the right direction. So that's kind of a quick on what we've been doing this summer.
Sounds busy.
It was busy, no doubt.
And then as a company, other investments we've done is our biggest investment by far this year has been our investment in our staff. So we increased our minimum wage from, we were paying 11 something here. And it's $15 an hour minimum for all our staff. And so over 80% of our staff got it higher than just our standard merit increase this year. And so that's a huge investment across the whole company. So we were excited to have that investment. And then locally, we've also increased the amount of employee housing that we're providing. So we've got just about 230 beds or so in 4 different properties, the biggest one of which is Snow Lake. So we're using Snow Lake Lodge to house our employees. And so we're very excited about that. We are anticipating having J1s, the student visas, in town again this season. So you'll hopefully see those around pretty soon. We just had some H2Bs, which is a different kind of visa, show up. That will be housekeeping at the Grand Summit this week. So it's great to have that workforce in this year again. And then a couple of things, just how we're operating for this year for COVID protocols, just so people are aware. So we will be requiring face coverings indoors, as well as at our quick serve restaurants, which is like the Summit, the cafeterias. They will have to show proof of vaccine to be able to eat in those facilities. They can go in and grab food and go back out and eat, but they will have to have a reservation and show proof of vaccine to eat in those restaurants. Outdoors, no requirements for face coverings or vaccines, and we will be loading chairlifts to capacity. So 6 people on the seats of the Bluebird to decrease our line time. So we are anticipating another good season with all of that. And then parking, I know you've heard a little bit about parking. So Mount Snow has had paid parking for a long time. And we are increasing the number of paid parking, really trying to encourage people to carpool and use the mover. So we're collecting data on how many people come in cars, how many people take the mover. And that's the real goal with this program, is to increase the number of people that'll carpool and come to Mount Snow in other ways other than everyone taking a car.
So how about if the guests decide they're gonna all park at the saloon and get the mover? And then the saloon opens and their lot is full, because that's a big mover stop, it's covered. Are we gonna be? I just anticipate some issues, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I'd like to just like work through it. Are you guys gonna be open to, I mean, are we gonna have to put no parking signs all over places? Because I've heard some scuttlebutt that both Shaw's and Saloon, Mount Snow Marketplace, are big places where people are gonna park. And then the saloon opens, or Shaw's, which is crowded on a Saturday anyway, and you can't park. So I assume that you guys are ready to field some of those concerns and.
Absolutely. We held a meeting this morning
Okay, good.
and invited businesses along 100
Mhm,
that have those concerns to
mhm.
come and speak with us this morning.
Okay,
So we're open to those conversations.
and was the police department included in that?
No, we just said business. And we've talked to the police department separately though,
Okay.
about parking signs and what we need to do and what.
I just
we
don't
anticipate.
want the town proliferated with no parking here, only business only,
Mhm.
when it hasn't been that situation. You know, people who need the mover generally use the mover. But there are other people who will say, I don't want to pay whatever the fee is going to be. And let's all meet at the saloon and get on a mover. And that's probably not going to be a happy thing if that indeed does happen. And I don't know if it is, but Sarah.
So, but the paid parking, what percentage of your total parking spaces are gonna be paid versus unpaid?
So the lots that were the premium lots in the past, the one
Mhm.
behind the main base lot,
Mhm.
Right.
like that one's called A lot,
Mhm.
Upper Corinthia, those were the two that were paid lots in the past.
Okay.
So those are gonna be $30 on the
Okay.
weekend and $15 during the week.
Okay.
And the other lots are B and C
Mhm.
and Lower Corinthia that are gonna be the paid lots. And so parking lot D
And E.
and E.
And the
are-
location of those are
Are those the ones
That's-
out?
the horse barn.
Forest Barn, yeah,
Mhm. The tiered
tiered
one.
lots.
yeah,
Yep.
tiered lower and down by Snow Lake. And the BC will, on midweek, will not be a charge lot either.
Yeah,
And
during the week, those are all free lots. And
BC, are
so
those the ones that are up basically?
by the mover
Like
stop.
behind Mountain
The
House?
main-
Surrounding
maintenance
Mount
building.
House, surrounding
Gotcha.
Mount House.
Okay, all right.
I
Okay.
just add that, 3 years ago with Peak Resorts, when we were looking at the Corinthia project, we were looking at a parking garage.
Right.
The parking garage but each parking space was gonna cost us between $25,000 and $30,000 a piece. The next up, I'm gonna talk about investment in lifts, and we would much rather be investing in new lifts and more capacity on the mountain than have to push parking. One of our parking manager actually spent the past winter in Kingswood, and he told me on Saturday morning he'd get up and come to work and every single parking spot would be full. He'd go back to have lunch with his wife and there'd be 2 or 3 cars left. And, to me, I think we're dad gets up early, decides to come to the mountain because he wants to make 7:30. The kids want to sleep in. Mom might come down at 8:30 or whatever, drive another car, and the kids bring a third car. It's going to make people think a little bit about what they're doing.
Maybe I'll drop you off and then I'll.
Well,
come back.
yeah, I think drop
I
off.
get it.
Drop off will be busy, and I think that, there certainly are entities around the mountain that have already taken efforts to say, hey, this is for our owners only, and they're not supposed to park there. And I think that's worked pretty well, and we've supported them wherever we could. In those cases, there are certainly going to be some situations here and there, but I don't think it's going to be as much problematic as we might think. But certainly, we are prepared. Both we've been talking with the mover in case those routes out of Wilmington get really busy. We're there to support them. We continue to support the mover. We've talked a lot about their needs and their concerns as well. So to try to be as proactive as we can.
Are you, sorry.
I was gonna grab Tabby first.
Last year being an outlier, so it means nothing in relation to everything else, but the mover lost quite a few routes to some of the condos because of COVID and lack of drivers, things like that. So how will those routes that disappeared, for example, Timber Creek had no mover service, and some of the other condos that had no service, how will that be supported to bring service back to some of those condo complexes?
I'm on the mover board, so I can answer a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just a one-stop shop tonight.
See why I brought him?
He's got it all.
The board voted to increase their minimum wage. They've actually, drivers for the winter here in this zone will get $25 an hour. And Randy has found their recruiting effort has worked very well. He's returned all those shuttle routes. They'll be able to support those. In addition, I don't know if it's public yet. They're
I think
talking
it's
about,
gonna be. in the
yeah,
paper
they're
this
talking about
week.
a route from Stratton to Manchester that they're adding this year. And they're prepared in case they need extra buses out of Wilmington, those morning buses that would run into those people that might be parking remotely. I don't know, I know that a lot of people have talked about parking Shaws. I don't know really if that's gonna become reality. Seems a little far-fetched.
But a lot of employees do use the mover as.
Yes, absolutely. And we want people to use public transportation. We think that's gonna help the valley overall by reducing some of the traffic in cars. I don't know if that answers your question.
That does, and also just one more piece of that, over the years, there has been no, I'm gonna say northbound, but no mover service north of the north entrance. But yet quite a few employees live in a bunch of the houses that are north of the mountain, and I usually every morning fill my car with random employees and give them rides.
Yeah.
Will there be any additional mover service north of the mountain to help have those employees who rent some of the houses up there?
Well, I'm on the board, but I don't run Uber, so there hasn't been a great discussion about that. I know there's discussions about a Route 30 route, but no, it has not been. And there may be other discussions that I have not been part of or has not come to the board that Randy could be working on.
So that might be a thought again for those employees who find places northbound between
Yeah.
the north entrance and Warrensboro.
Sarah?
So are you still gonna have the, like the on mountain lockers so people can just leave their gear there?
Yes.
So that would definitely make the mover stuff easier
Easy.
because you're not gonna be
Mhm.
carrying. And will you be able to use, or have you, the golf course parking with a shuttle to the mountain? Is that an option?
We have the golf course parking is included in our parking plans, so certainly. And I think on those busiest days, that if we were to go that route, we may use it for our staff and not necessarily for our guests, but it is overflow. We don't typically have much luck getting people to head up that way for a shuttle, but
If
it's
they
still
work
there.
for you, you can force them.
Absolutely. Well, I
No.
can entice them.
There we go.
Tabby?
And the silo overflow parking?
I don't know that if we're gonna contract that this year. I don't think any plans yet or now are set for that.
Okay. Scott?
Yeah, so I'm just, some clarification. You're telling us that your purpose was to try and have more people take the mover. Is that one of your goals with this?
I think our overall goal is to have people think about whether or not to carpool, use one vehicle instead of multiple vehicles, and use the mover. Those people that are staying in condominiums, the mover says they're relatively very light ridership from those locations. And my example of the Kingswood was that, rather than take that ride, of course, this past year wasn't a standard, but a lot of people just drive down anyway. So we're trying to get people to think about this. And actually it was something we were talking about with Randy and the mover several years ago when we started running into parking issues, is how do we entice people to use transportation and not everyone drive. So I think that's really our goal. We don't want to fill the valley full of parking lots.
Yes, Sarah.
I was just curious if there was anything that came up in the conversation you had with the business owners today that was sort of an interesting solution, or did they come to you with anything? Or was it more like, please don't?
Tony brought up the fact that maybe we could utilize or look at areas along the way, such as, had we thought about like the Wilmington Elementary School on weekends, could that be used as a spot for people to park? And I don't believe we approached the town yet and thought about that. I don't know how willing they would be willing to do that, because there's certainly some liability with slippery surfaces and things like that in parking lots. But certainly that was one of the things that were brought up, and the same as you're discussing about business owners and what kind of things they could do. My idea was to say, well, yeah, have them park at the, offer that daytime parking so that when they come back, they can have beers at the saloon and have dinner. But apparently, I don't know the businesses that as well as I thought. So I don't think they need extra people in the afternoon. So.
And lifts? Are we gonna talk about lifts,
Oh.
Tracy?
Yes. So, that's the exciting news, is that, we will be applying for a lot of different permitting to put some new lifts in.
Yeah, so we're planning 2 new lifts to replace 3 lifts. We've been talking quite some time about replacing the Sunbrook Quad up in Sunbrook. We've been installing snowmaking and doing some trail improvements up there to support it. And now we're excited that we're going to be able to go ahead with that project pending state and local permitting. It'll be a quad detachable lift that will substantially reduce the ride time. And I can't remember exactly what the number is, but it'll be substantially faster. And that will pretty much follow in the identical location where it was before. The other lift that we're replacing is a combination of the Tumbleweed and Sundance lift. So that's lift 8 and lift 7. It'll start where Tumbleweed starts and end where the top of Sundance ends. It'll be a high-speed detachable 6-place chair. We think that that's going to make a substantial change in the traffic in our base area, help utilize Sundance and some of the trails that from that lift that frankly people weren't riding because they were a slow triple chair, and it just our guests are really now looking for high-speed lifts that they don't have to spend as much time sitting on chairs waiting to get to the top. We are hoping to file our Act 250 on the 15th of this month. We have already worked with Tabby, and we've got our meeting set for the DRB. And I don't know if there are any questions about that, but I think that covers it.
Will that change the comfortable carrying capacity?
Actually, the overall, by removing 3 lifts and installing 2, our uphill capacity is actually a little bit less. It'll be faster to get up to the top, but it does not change the care. It does not change the comfortable carrying capacity. Well, it does somewhat. Actually, I think it does reduce it a bit. And we've sent all that data into Debbie.
Well, I'm excited that Vail is investing in Mount Snow. It's nice to hear about it, and exciting for the valley, and good for the valley. So we're really excited.
Personally, I think we have a little bit to thank to Tracy, who seems to have the in and managed to get 2 lifts for us, and we're very happy about that. They're investing in the resort and investing in our staff heavily. We didn't really mention it, but there's an awful lot of training and development of staff. It seems to be it is a very high priority for this new company. So I'm excited about that.
Does anybody have any questions for Dave or Tracy? Scott?
Yeah, I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dwell on this parking thing too much, but it doesn't sit that well with me, honestly. Like, has there been any talk about I know there's going to be some area, even though all the maps I've seen, I'm colorblind, I can't even tell where the free parking is and where the not free parking is, but has there been any discussion about something to try and support like local residents or something, or I don't know, any discussion around that?
I would say that they, you know, we've just finalized our contract with the company that's going to work with us on the parking app. Will be in, I think I don't know exactly the time frame, but to install signage that clearly points out where those free and for charge lots are. And I think if you know, typically the only impact to our local skiers and riders it's going to be heaviest on weekends. And a lot of our local skiers and riders tend to not show up on the weekends because they know it's very crowded. Those that do, you know, usually will come early and leave early. Those outer lots that are free will still be free, and there are shuttles, you know, from those outer lots. So, you know, and really our outer lots are not that far away when you compare them to other resorts. So I think there certainly will be ways that people find to make it work, and shouldn't have that great of an impact. I understand, you know, your concern, and I think we understand it.
Anything else, Scott?
No.
I have something to say. Dana Cerise is here. I think it does greatly affect the local resident, right? So I love Mount Snow. I pull out of my driveway, I pull up, I park the car, I get on the lift, and I ski and snowboard for the day. It's a luxury. I can't imagine now like living anywhere else. Parking and having to take a shuttle with the kids and the boots and the stuff. Obviously, like I have a Monday through Friday pass. I would never go on the weekend, but that you know, that is inconvenient. And I do think that people on the weekend are going to clog the local lots. You know, am I going to be able to pull into the store and pick up eggs and bread, or is the lot going to be full of, you know, parking in New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York plates? I don't know. I guess we'll see, because it has been like that. That's my concern.
Well, I think that I'm looking at Dave and Tracy, and I think this is a conversation that could continue if we do have issues. And I get the feeling you guys are open to revisiting if there are just big problems with it, and the businesses are upset, and how do we deal with it? Because they're going to call us. I mean, they're going to call our police department. They're going to call our economic development director. They're going to call the town clerk's office. So we're going to know if there's people who are upset. It gets here pretty fast. So we will monitor the feedback, and let's hope it all works well. And are the lots on the weekend, are they charged after 1 o'clock, or are they going to charge all day long? So if you pull in at 3,
They're free after 1 o'clock.
okay, so afternoon, weekend parking in those BC lots, and the lower lot of Corinthia is open. And usually, if you want to ski in the afternoon, people are gone. You can usually pull in there anyway, if you know how to park at Mount Snow.
And even the other lots are free too.
Right,
Parking is always free in all the lots after 1 o'clock.
okay. So that's a good thing.
Right behind the main base lodge, Upper Corinthia.
Yep, okay,
Yeah, the other thing that parking there will be an app, so that you won't be lining up. We've had traffic issues before with people lining up to pay for their parking, and that won't be.
so will you pay on the app?
They will pay on the app.
Can they pay in cash?
No.
We don't take cash at the resort at all.
Okay,
All our operations are cashless.
okay. Don't get me going on the cashless
Yeah.
society, because I think it does. I mean, we were talking about a resort, so I'm not gonna go there, but you know, in cities and stuff like that, it discriminates in some ways, and that's just my own personal opinion.
We have an option. If people want to, they can buy a gift card
Oh, and they can
Yeah.
drive, right?
and then they could
Okay,
go and to the restaurants. So
Okay.
there's options,
okay,
but in general, cashless.
At the point of transaction, it's cash,
Correct.
but you can.
okay, got it. I'm not going there with that. Okay, anything else from anybody? Hearing none, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
and giving us an update, and for discussing this with us, because we did have concerns and we still do have concerns, but we hope that it will settle out and not be an issue. So thank you. But we're excited.
It was snowing today.
Yeah.
Here?
Excited too.
Yeah,
Here?
there were snowflakes falling. It's exciting.
I heard it was gonna snow in Syracuse, so I'm getting my studs on tomorrow, so that's good. It probably now won't snow for a month.
Right, my tires.
Okay, thank you. Letter from the North Branch regarding the town fees. So the North Branch has asked us to provide what items we give them or not charge them full rate for. And they'd like to get that information from us. Do we have that, Jeanette?
Well, we have part of it. I still have not connected. Chris Larson's been on vacation, so I have not connected with him, but apparently Travis said he has been keeping a log since it was brought up, so we might have it.
Hold on. Okay, can you speak up a little, Jeanette?
Sure.
So the landfill has been keeping a log of North Branch dumping.
Yes, I don't have an exact figure yet. Chris has been on vacation. I did go back into, as far as town clerk fees, and just for an example, for the calendar year 2020, with their recording fees for tax sales or contracts that they record here with us, it was about a little over $1,000 for the calendar year 2020. So, and as of October 27th, for this calendar year, it's been $690 that we do not charge them for. So,
Did you ask Rich and the school, Marco, to figure out what the solar credits are that the North Branch gets from the school every year?
I did mention that to Richard, but I have not.
Okay. He's probably gonna need Marco to help him with that anyway. But I think that we need to get a handle on that. And then Travis has nothing else? No sand, no plowing, no.
No, he said he hasn't specifically provided that for them. I know Bob did in the past, because I know I've received calls asking them to come and sand the driveway, occasionally.
Okay,
So.
okay. Well, thank you
So
for
we're still working on
pulling the number together.
putting the numbers together, and I presume when we get that, I can send a letter to respond.
Joe, I heard.
Yeah, I'm here. So the other thing too is there's actually some equipment and their own facility that we haven't been taxing either. So we need to kind of figure that out, because obviously if we're going to be getting charged for everything, we want to be able to charge everything back or have that number available to them too. So
They're tax
like the
exempt.
sewer plant. Sewer plant has a value.
We cannot.
They're not.
So
Right now.
So you're saying we can't, don't we?
Okay, you're breaking up.
Aren't we as a town decide if we tax it? Never mind.
Okay, so is my understanding that they are tax exempt, but let's make sure of that, that they are tax exempt. To verify, but they are not being charged property taxes at this point. And we don't do equipment taxes like that, like anymore. We used to. So we will to verify whether they are truly tax exempt or where it's a tax courtesy. Yeah. So we will check on that, which would be interesting that they could tax us, but we couldn't tax them. But anyway.
And that would be something. probably-
We're working on this.
We
So.
want to double check. Research whether there's a legal issue on the taxation.
Well, we don't know. I mean, if it's in bylaw that, I mean, state law that says that they're exempt, then there's nothing. we
Well,
can do.
that, I was just saying that the attorney would be to confirm that it's actually in state statute. Is all I was asking.
Jeanette?
was gonna say, according to our grand list, they are exempt.
Are they, but that does, we don't understand why they're exempt
Why they're
necessarily, so
Yeah,
we will investigate that. Linda,
Thank you.
oh, Linda's got her hand up.
So they're exempt because they're a municipality. That's why we can't tax them for their buildings. But I don't know if perhaps maybe they could be on the municipal side and not the education. I don't know. But that's the reason why they're tax exempt, is because they're a municipality as we are.
Right. So we will definitely clarify that. Are you good with that, Joe?
Yes, I'm good with that. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Anything else on this? There will be more to come, I'm sure. All right, update on DV fiber with TJ Sibilia.
Yeah, I brought in, we just issued our annual report, and you guys, the select board was mailed it or emailed it.
Mhm.
They should have it, but I brought in copies for anyone who might be interested. At least if you want to go there.
I have a couple copies too.
So yeah, I thought it was a good time to update you all and see if you have any questions, really. Because we've been doing a lot over the last year. Dover joined, let me start with the CUD. The CUD is a communication union district. It is a municipality, much like a sewer district, where we're going to be tax exempt. And we're going to, it's with the goal of building fiber internet to every house on the grid in our member towns. Dover joined about a year and a half ago. Currently, we are up to 24 towns, which is almost every town in Windham County, plus some in Bennington County, meaning Stamford and Reedsboro and Searsburg. Since we have formed, we have created a governing board, we opened a website, we do a quarterly newsletter for people to communicate. We developed, a set of vision and principles, which is basically internet for everybody, no cap, affordable, and no and net neutrality enforced. Then we set about developing a plan for bringing internet to everybody, and to that extent issued an RFP in February of this last fall. We got 11 responses from our RFP. Ended up settling on a joint bid between GWI, which is a company out of Biddeford, Maine, who works with EC Fiber, which is the current, the first CUD in Vermont. And they will be working with ValleyNet, which is another EC Fiber, and to be our service provider. They will run our ISP. At the same time, they will hire people to come in and construct the network for us. But the municipality will retain all control over the network and ownership, and we'll just sub that work out. Recently, so to that effect, I know that was, I don't want to say it was the easy part, but that was the easy part. The state has set up a pretty large fund of about $150 million to get CUDs off the ground. We applied for and received our first grant from that fund for $4.1 million about a month ago. That is going to enable us to complete poll studies in our, I should step back, our order of building. We have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1 are all the towns in our CUD that do not have any cabled internet, meaning they only have DSL or dial-up and nothing faster. Phase 2 are towns that have some cable and internet, like Dover, with a lot of areas that don't. The phase 1 town, where we've already completed poll studies in them, which is where they go in and see what improvements need to be made on polls and where they are. We will complete those poll studies in the rest of the towns with this current grant. This grant will also allow us to do a high-level engineering program, which is going to let me, when that's done, give you better information on when we're going to have fiber here. But the short answer is we're going to start construction in 2022.
We anticipate finishing construction of all phase 1 and phase 2 by the end of 2024. The exact dates of when that happens is going to depend on what the engineers tell us and which routes we should go to first. I think that's about all I have. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions, either in the room here or on Zoom? Tabby?
Phase 3 is defined as,
Phase 3 will be if we overbuild existing providers that are providing good service, and that will be a market decision. Basically, if the neighborhood wants it, we'll probably go in there, but we're not just gonna overbuild for the sake of overbuilding.
Joe, do you have a question? Your hand's up.
No, I don't have a question. My concern is exactly what TJ said about overbuilding, because obviously there's a lot of suitors out there that are putting in fiber quite rapidly on both ends. So I don't want to overlap anything that they're doing and then have a competition type thing. We want competition, but we want people that are underserved to be able to have fiber first. That is the goal. So just want to make sure that
I can't say that they won't overbuild anything before everybody is served, because if we're passing by an area to get to an underserved area, we may cover them, but we will not, directly try and compete in existing areas. I should say the only area where we may, when I mentioned cabled areas, but we're, that's assuming a certain level of service, and that currently is 25 megabytes down, 3 up. There are a lot of cabled areas in Dover and Wilmington that do not meet that standard, and I will be pushing them to overbuild those areas unless they can upgrade.
Anything else from anybody?
Nope.
Hearing nothing. Thank you, TJ, for coming in for an update. It's probably good you come in once a year and tell us how things are going. Because it doesn't sound like much of anything's probably going to happen in Dover except for the poll study this coming year.
Yeah, I would anticipate that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, you had a question?
I didn't know if you wanted to mention the meeting. I forgot to put it in there. That there's a public hearing.
I did forget about that. That's why I wanted to come here. If you did have concerns, you should come to that meeting.
It's November 10th at 5 p.m. There is a Zoom, a global meeting. And it's also in person at the Wardsboro Town Office.
We do have governing board meetings once a month. They are open to the public. There is always a in-person component. Usually it's in Wardsboro. We welcome participation. We also welcome more volunteers because there are 60 people working on this now. And as you know, in volunteer organizations, people burn out and fade out. We always need to feed up from the bottom. So if somebody's interested, come on in.
Great. All right. Another question. What's the phone number there?
I think that's Michelle.
Michelle Pinkham?
Yeah.
Can the 508 caller identify themselves?
Yes, this is Michelle Pinkham. I was having internet issues, haha. So that's why I couldn't join via Zoom.
Okay, so we just want to put you in for the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, are we set now, Jeanette? All right, Eric and the Economic Development Department, the Eat, Sleep, Shop local 2021 $3,000 expenditure request.
So you see the budget that was provided. They're actually asking us for less this year. I think that this is something that we should continue to do. The program took a little while to get off the ground in Wilmington, and last year being our first year, it's going to take a minute to catch hold in Dover. So I think if we continue to participate, the more successful it's going to be throughout the valley. I think it ties in well and saves us from having to establish and run a similar program specifically to Dover. So it's my recommendation that we should participate again this year. The biggest difference this year is that there will be less coupons issued, and that the chamber is pitching in more in-kind donation to cover redemption for coupons and things like that. There was a sentiment last year that there were too many coupons offered, to the point where they weren't even all picked up. You know, they were still giving out coupons on Christmas Eve. So the idea is that by cutting the number of coupons just a little bit, it also increases the sense of urgency and spreads the money around. Does anyone have any questions on the program for 2021?
Anybody? I see no questions. So would we like to make a motion to participate with a $3,000?
Make a motion that we participate in each Fleet Shop Local 2021 program in the dollar amount of $3,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Joe has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I think we lost Scott again, so he didn't vote on that one. And some general updates from the Economic Development Department.
Okay. So first update, the final Dover launch event where the winner will be announced will be hosted at the Corinthia Base Lodge. A huge shout out and thank you to Tracy and her team for offering us the space and helping us get things set up there. Also a huge shout out to Shannon, who has been coordinating and planning the event all the way through. So kudos to her. That will be Thursday, November 18th at 5:30. There will be brief presentations. We have narrowed down our semifinalists to 3 finalists at this point, who will be contacted this week and putting together presentations for this event. They'll present those to the judges, and then a decision will be made that night on the winner. Any questions there?
No, thank you for hosting that. Is that going to be a masked event, or is that going to be part of the guidelines? Is inside masking?
Unless
Yes.
they're actively eating or drinking.
Just walk around with the.
So just when we put out, I assume we're going to put out some marketing
Advertising.
things about that, because I think it would be a good event for people to go and see what's really happening. We
Yep.
should include that for sure. So
Yeah, there's a big push starting at the end of this week for the event to get people there. There will be food provided by Mount Snow. Again, Shannon's been working on the menu and things like that, and there will also be a cash bar. So we are excited to get to the end and announce a winner of the Dover launch competition. Any other questions on that?
Jan, yes, Sarah.
That's the same night as Mount Snow's coming in for their permit for their
DRB.
DRB is at 7. So
We'll be good.
I'll see them both.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No,
Okay,
we're good with that.
Okay, cool. The URSA grant, just a quick update that our partners at SOVTA have decided that they will not be actively participating in the completion of the final application for this grant. No real explanation why. They will be providing us with quotes on the kiosks for the property, but it pretty much made it clear that we would be responsible for the rest of the application. So I will be completing that and getting that in, because I feel it's still very important for us to attain those funds to help us complete that project. If anyone has any questions on that process, feel free to reach out to me, and I will have that grant into the state by the end of the month, or the application rather.
And that is for the Dover Town Forest. Well, it hasn't been, initiated that. I mean, it is, but we're gonna do it an opening and everything. But this is for the new, for the Dover Town, that's the property we're talking about.
Yes, it's the grant for about $30,000 to expand the parking lot, to put in an arch at the entryway with the new name, new signage, the plaque for Phil, and then some pavilions off of each side of the parking lot to provide for educational gathering spaces on the property.
Thank you.
Yep. Just a quick update that Bytown Marketing has completed the first round of interviews for the Bytown Marketing Director and has almost completed the final round interviews for Bytown Marketing Director. So we should have an update on that for you guys very shortly. And a new Bytown Marketing Director. And then the only other update that I had was a reminder about the ARPA webinar tomorrow put on by the Windham Regional Commission and other regional commissions from around the state. That's at 4 o'clock. I did send that information to all of the board members. I can share with Jeanette as well. If anybody else needs it, feel free to reach out to me or Jeanette. We can give you that for tomorrow.
Are you both attending that?
I will be on the call.
Okay. So you will be well versed in it.
It's really the first, because even the first update that they gave didn't have a whole lot of specifics or details involving ARPA funding or how and when we can spend it. It seems that we do have a clearer picture of that now. So we will be, hopefully after this, have a much better idea of what it is we can use those funds for.
Thank you.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. Thank you. And thanks for hanging around for all of the whole meeting.
Of course.
It was a rather long one, but thanks a lot. And we'll see you at the Dover launch.
Yes.
Okay, we're on consent agenda. We need to approve the minutes of October 19th. Joe was not at that meeting, so he is going to have to abstain. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Scott?
Yes, second.
Thank you. Are there any errors, changes, anything for anybody? Scott, you have anything?
Good, we're good.
Hearing no comments or changes, all in favor? Aye.
Staying.
Okay, now we have to approve the warrants of October 30th. Did anybody on Zoom come in and look at the warrants?
I did not comment.
No, I can tomorrow.
Sorry, Scott, could you repeat that?
Sorry, I can tomorrow. I have not yet, sorry.
So can we approve them tentatively, assuming a third board member signs off on it tomorrow?
I have a question.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just understand that we may not be able to do any of this now because
Okay, right.
see. So once we get to there,
Then we can ask a question.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So will you guys come in tomorrow and sign the warrant, look at them and sign them?
Yes.
I cannot come in until Monday. I'm
All right.
not in the area.
So Scott, thank you for coming in tomorrow. So I'd like somebody to make a motion that we'd approve the warrants for $522,988.29, pending the third board member's signature. Yeah. So,
I have.
Second.
okay, let's second the motion.
You have second.
Well, I made the motion. I did. Okay, so now we have questions. Yes.
So there's someone here from the Women's Freedom Center, and it says that a check was paid, but it looks like it's just a request to be in the 2022 warrant. It's not actually a request for money.
Did we look in the town report?
It says, formally asked you to place its request for $1,200 from fiscal year 2023 funds on the warning for the March 20 22 town meeting.
We also
Oh,
request the
that's-
release.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, I thought they were on there, so, okay.
Okay.
Is that it?
That
On
was
the
the only
warrants?
one. That was my only question. I
All right.
was confused part badly.
So hearing no other questions or concerns, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I take it I can't vote, right? I would say yes too, but I'm not gonna be there to,
Well, yeah. 'cause
No,
we-
no, well, you can, I guess he can vote yes, he's just, we're gonna need
3 signatures.
re-signatures. So, Scott, are you voting? Scott? We kind of need your, we need your stamp of approval on this. He's gone. I know, but he,
Oh, yes.
vote?
Sorry about that.
So we're voting on the warrants. How do you
Yes.
vote?
Contingent on,
We've already done that.
yep.
Okay, so you're voting.
I was just with my daughter in the bathroom. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Okay, so we made that motion. I made it and Sarah seconded it and Joe is going to vote, but we really need you to vote because your name's going to be on the warrants.
Aye, yes, aye.
Well, sometimes they don't come in anyway. Sometimes they don't look at them in time.
We could do a 3-0.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Sorry. Aye.
Okay, all right, that's good. Scott, you can probably go now. We're just on to the FYIs. So
Thank
we have a
you.
letter, Windham Solid Waste Management District, which basically they've compiled information for the town's trash and recycling programs with the attached summary. We hope the town will post the summary on the town's website. It has been. So if anybody wants to read anything from Windham Solid Waste about the summary, it's been provided by Chris Larson and Kevin Stein, so it's on the town website. We have a planning commission meeting on November 8th at 6 p.m. We have a Trails and Rec meeting on November 15th at 6:30 p.m. We have department heads. Budgets are due November 19th through the treasurer. And budget meetings are scheduled for December 2nd at 1 p.m. and December 9th at 3 p.m. Is there anything else that we should have on that list? Joe?
No.
Can you make the budget meetings on December 2nd at 1 p.m. and December 9th at 3 p.m.? They're both Thursdays.
As far as I can tell right now, I can. I don't have anything planned on either one of those days.
Well,
I can
put
make
that
both
on your calendar, okay? All right. Liaison reports? Anything? All right.
Well, the police, the fire department had talked to me about a sign, but that's not gonna.
That's
happen
not,
in immediate.
no. That would have to come to the regular board.
Right,
So no liaison reports, and I am not aware of an executive session. So with that, we're gonna adjourn this meeting at 7:53 p.m.
See you later.